Now, former President Donald Trump has given a news conference this evening, his first public appearance since Kamala Harris became the Democratic presidential nominee and chose Tim Walz as her running mate to go up against Trump and J.D. Vance in November. Well, here's what the former president had to say about the current administration.
Millions of people were allowed to come into our country from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, insane asylums, even insane asylums. It's a mental institution on steroids. That's what it is. When you see the people that are coming into these are institutions that are being emptied out, not in South America, all over the world, including South America, all over the world. Prisons are being emptied out into our country because we have a president that's the worst president in the history of our country. We have a vice president who is the least admired, least respected, and the worst vice president in the history of our country.
All right, let's bring in our US correspondent, James Matthews, for more on this, joining us from DC. James, great to have you with us. I mean, first of all, we talk about what else Trump said. That point he's talking about insane asylums, prisons being emptied out and people coming to America. I mean, how much truth is there in that? It's not the first time I've heard him make that accusation.
No. I mean, you know, for him to talk about mental institution on steroids, then clearly that's nonsense. But it's one of the main lines of attack from Donald Trump on the politics of his Democratic opponents. And to some degree, I suppose, in that news conference, he reorientated his campaign towards the politics of it all. Certainly didn't mention the racial identity of Kamala Harris, which has undermined Republican campaigning. That is the view of Republicans are in Donald Trump's orbit themselves. They wanted to hear more about voters' priorities like immigration, like the economy. So we heard some of that in there, speaking about how the US was heading for a depression, according to Donald Trump. But I think the reason, principally, why we have heard from Donald Trump, Kamali, is the fact that we haven't seen or heard from him really in the past week or two, whilst on one half of this split-screen election, we have the newly minted Democratic ticket hogging the headlines, frankly, attracting audiences of 15,000 and odd in key swing states, while Democrats enjoy the sugar rush of the replacement of Biden and the freshness of this ticket. The Republicans, it's been rather flat. And halfway through Trump's speech, there was a tweet, interestingly, from Jason Miller, one of Trump's aides, and he had put together a montage of 11 TV screens, all showing the speech live, and he wrote, "Wall to wall, Kamala Harris can't do this." I think that tells us why he's given this news conference at this time, essentially to get back in the game and to get back on TV and to reintroduce traction to the Republican campaign in what has been the shadow of the Democrats for the past few days and couple of weeks, certainly. In terms of a news line, we have news on debates, TV debates between Trump and Kamala Harris. He has suggested 3 separate debates. Kamala, you'll remember he was backing out of a September the 10th debate on ABC News. Well, Trump is saying now that he wants to have 3. He says he's agreed it with the TV networks on the 4th, 10th and 25th of September, different news channels. And he says that the fine detail has to be arranged, the location for one thing, an audience for another. That may be a sticking point. Given the history, remember Trump versus Hillary Clinton, the audience, Trump standing behind Hillary Clinton, stalking her on stage. So maybe the logistics and the infrastructure are yet to be pinned down, but certainly he's touting these 3 dates as the big showdown between the two. And of course, remember that in terms of debates, Biden wanted Trump to debate. He wanted to drag him onto a debate stage to try to trigger, to revitalize Biden's campaign. And of course, that didn't do him any favors. That may be in the mind of Donald Trump as he contemplates the TV debate with a Democratic campaign and a Democratic candidate who's very much on the up. The polls tell us that. One out today that reflects a surge in the polls for Kamala Harris, saying that she has a lead over Donald Trump nationally, although it should be stressed that Trump still enjoys a lead, a tightening lead, albeit in battleground states.